This is our email address for comments, correspondence, and feedback. Our website is also there for more information. Everything is inspired by the teachings of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, the founder and charter of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Om Ganati Brahmasya Vinamina Sahajya Chaksurin Militam Yena Tajmai Sri Gurave Namo Sri Chaitanya Visham Stapitam Yena Bhutane Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Didati Swara Kadandikam. Our topic today is pathways to victory, transforming your troubles. We all go through low points in life. Things happen that we don't understand, that we don't think we're fair. We have a setback in our finances, a challenge to our health, or a relationship that just didn't make it. And when we're in the valley of depression, the valley of despair, the valley of divorce, so to speak, of course it's easy to get discouraged and think that things are never going to get better. However, let's take a page from Scripture where it is said that Krishna or God will transform that valley of trouble into a pathway of hope, a pathway of victory. You may be in a valley of sickness, a valley of loneliness, a valley of debt. You don't see any way out. It looks like you're in too far, too deep. It looks permanent. But Krishna brought you here tonight to hear me say that if you kept Him first place by chanting His holy names, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, He is about to transform that valley into a valley of hope, a pathway of increase, a pathway of favor. That valley is going to end up catapulting you to new levels, better relationships, greater influence. The medical report may not look good. You're in a valley of sickness. Now, if you've been honoring Krishna or God by chanting His holy names, can I tell you that He's moving things into position to transform that valley into a pathway of healing, pathway of restoration, a pathway of wholeness. Don't let the valley and the shadows that may be projecting over you fool you, because Krishna or God has the final say. Nothing can snatch you out of God's hands. Maybe you're in a valley in your finances. Business is slow. You lost that contract. That's not the end. Krishna can transform that into a pathway of blessing, a pathway of favor, a pathway of abundance. He can open new doors, cause new opportunities to find you. Maybe you've struggled with an addiction for a long time. You've come to accept that you'll always be addicted. It's been that way since high school. You've tried to get clean 100 times. You've been in rehab. Your relatives suffered from the same valley. They all struggled. Our message is, this is a new day. You're going to break that generational curse. You just have to do one thing. Learn to put Krishna or God first place. And if you do that, Krishna's going to do a new thing in your life, in your family. He has a breakthrough coming your way. He can make things happen that you couldn't make happen on your own. That valley may be where you are now, but it is not your destiny. It is not where you are to stay. That addiction, that loneliness, that anxiety is not going to haunt you your whole life. You were created by your Almighty Father to live free, to be happy, to have an abundant, fulfilled, purposeful life of service to God and service to your fellow man. Therefore, our suggestion is, and instead of complaining about the valley, instead of being discouraged about what you're going through, all through the day, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, thank you that this valley is only temporary. I believe in what you promised. I believe that you're about to transform this valley into a pathway of hope, a pathway of blessing, a pathway of victory. This valley is going to lead me to an awesome future of love and service. Now, let's be honest here. The truth is, you can't reach your destiny without going through valleys. The valleys are strategic. If you're on top of the mountain, the only way to get to the top of the next mountain, which may be a little higher than this one, is to do what? You have to go down, and you have to go through a valley. So to get from where you are to the higher position, you will always have to first go down through the valley and then up the side of a bigger mountain. Therefore, Krishna allows valleys in our lives not to hold us back, but to take us higher. Maybe right now you're discouraged about what Krishna's actually using to take you to a higher level. You're thinking that where you are is where you'll always be. We're encouraging a new perspective. That valley is not there to stop you, it's there to promote you. What you're up against, it may be bigger than yourself. You may feel outnumbered and outmanned, that you don't have the resources. On your own, you cannot get out of that deep, dark place. The good news is, you're not on your own. The Most High God is right there with you. And He knows how to turn a battlefield into a blessing field. He knows how to turn that valley of trouble into a pathway of victory. When you're in that valley, you'll hear the enemy's lies, threats. She'll try to intimidate you, browbeat you, disorient you, overwhelm you. She'll try to get you to doubt yourself. She'll whisper in your ear, who do you think you are? You'll never get out of this valley. You'll never get up on that mountaintop. This valley's too deep. That mountain's too big. You'll never get well. You saw the medical report. Your child will never get off course. You know the crowd that he's running in. Don't believe the lies of Maya. Don't let Maya push you down, cause you to live submerged in fear, worry. Learn to talk back to Maya. What you're saying while you're in the valley is going to have an impact on whether you get out of the valley and when you get out of the valley. Don't say, whatever you do, the enemy's too big, I don't have a chance, I'm outnumbered, I'll never defeat what's up against me. When you talk defeat, you're inviting defeat. When you talk sickness, you're sending gold engraved invitations out to sickness to come into your life. When you say, I'll never get out of this problem, you'll never get out of that problem. So instead of agreeing with the enemy, start declaring what Krishna, God, said about you in the Bhagavad Gita. When the enemy Maya shouts, you'll never get well, do like the heroes of faith. I will live and I will not die. Krishna will cause his devotees to fulfill the full span of their lives. He will bless their children and their grandchildren to become mighty in the land. Instead of saying, I'll never get out of debt, this valley of lack, this valley of struggle, not having enough, it's my lot in life, it's permanent. No, start declaring out of your mouth that Krishna is going to open the windows of heaven and pour out blessings that I cannot explain, that I do not deserve. It's crucial what comes out of your mouth when you're in the valley. If that valley is going to be transformed into a pathway of hope, you have to speak words of life, words of faith, some victory. While others talk about how big the problem is, devotees talk about how big their God is. When you're magnifying the problem, on the one hand, those people are magnifying the problem, and on the other hand, the devotees are magnifying their God. This might be helpful. Maya has no new tricks. Maya is not particularly creative. You go back and review what she's done in the past, the ways that she's used to try to deceive you. She threatens with loud insults, she intimidates, she blusters, she lies. It's always the same thing over and over again. Loud threats, things that go bump in the night, keep you awake, cause you to live worried, stressed out. Just pause for a moment and recognize it. What's happening? Don't run, hide, don't buckle under the weight of your own accusing thoughts. Be a warrior, not a worrier. I heard a story some years ago, a speedboat driver on one of those fast boats. He was near top speed, and his boat veered slightly. It hit a wave at a dangerous angle, and the combined force of its speed, the size of the boat, the angle of the wave, sent it spinning crazily into the air. He himself was thrown from his seat and propelled deeply down into the water. He was so deep, in fact, he had no idea which way was up. He didn't know where the surface was. He started to panic, thrash around, freak out. But he realized that if he remained calm, what would happen? His natural buoyancy would take him back up to the surface. Once he stopped thrashing and fighting and became calm and relaxed, then he would start to rise in the direction of the surface. And all he would have to do is help the process along with some kicks and some strokes. And that's exactly what he did. So, worship, coming together on Saturday nights, Sunday nights in Spanish Court. It's that time when we take the time to rediscover which way is what. Up. Which way is up? You have to have this calm. Beyond the loud blustering of Maya, you have to be able to hear the calm, still voice of the Lord, the Parama, coming from the heart. If you want to properly orient yourself, rise to the surface and catch your breath. There's nothing more powerful in these crazy, mixed up, topsy-turvy times that we live in than to review and to repeat Krishna's promises from your own mouth. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Chapter 9, Bhagavad Gita, 31st verse. Sipram Bhavati Bharata, Sastra Chanti, Konti Abhidhamati, Name Bhakta Pranasti. Krishna tells Arjuna, who keeps me first place by chanting my holy names, such a person becomes righteous and attains lasting peace. O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. Declare, I may be in this valley right now, but I am coming out. I will, by God's grace, fulfill my destiny. I will accomplish my dreams. I'm strong, I'm healthy, I'm well able, I'm equipped, I am a child of the Most High God. Sometimes, as agents of Maya, people, they might even pose as friends, well-wishers, or even relatives, will try to keep you in the valley. They'll tell you what you can't do, what you don't have. What you have to do is just live with the addiction, live with the chronic disease, live with the debt, live with the lack. Don't start that business. It might fail. It's a bad time. Don't aspire to get from labor to management. There's too much competition at the top. Better you just stay where you are. Don't expect everyone to cheer you on. There are people that would like to keep you down where they are so they feel more comfortable in their own mediocrity. Not all your friends or even all your relatives are going to cheer you on, challenge you to stretch to the next level. But here's the key. Because they don't see it in you, it doesn't mean that it's not there. Krishna put greatness in each and every one of you. There are things in you, in your spirit, that others cannot even begin to imagine. Potential that can catapult you to an entire new level. Now, don't let someone talk you out of what Krishna put in you. Don't let their lack of support keep you stuck in the valley. At some point, we'll be in the valley with a big obstacle, a big setback. You didn't get the scholarship. That relationship didn't work out. I lost that love. There'll be fear, depression, anxiety, and it will feel permanent. You'll feel locked in. You'll feel shackled, hand and feet, paralyzed. You'll feel alone, that nobody is there to support you. That's when you have to dig down deep and say, no. This valley of depression, this valley of despair, this valley of debt is not my home. This defeat, this lack, this trouble, this addiction is not how my story ends. There's a breakthrough, a promotion, a healing, a divine connection that Krishna has released in my direction. Now, I'm going to get ready for my life to be transformed. Things look permanently negative right now, but I know a secret. They're going to change for those who keep God in first place. Suddenly, my health is going to turn around. Suddenly, my business is going to take off. Suddenly, my child gets back on course. That valley is going to start leading you to victory. Krishna has placed buoyancy in the valley. Whatever you need to get out of that valley is already within your reach. Your bags are already fully packed. Nothing is left out. Whatever you need is there. You don't have to wait on some other person. You don't have to play up to the boss. You don't have to wait for good luck or good grace, for the company to call you, for a neighbor to help you out. You just have to stay calm and trusting, knowing that you have what you need to rise. 1878. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna Yata Parta Dano Yata Yata Sriyadikya Ruvanitir Tamama. Sanjaya concludes the Bhagavad Gita by saying, Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna. Wherever there's the master of mystic powers, Krishna, Yata Dano, and his friend and associate, Arjuna, or in fact anybody who keeps in first place, there will be victory, opulence, power, prosperity, and righteousness. Of this, Sanjaya says, I am certain. What do we take from this? Don't be discouraged by who's not for you, by who doesn't cheer you on. You don't need them. You and Krishna are a majority. Krishna's breathing in your direction right now. You're about to come out of that valley, and it's going to happen sooner than you think. Look around you and look inside of yourself. Sometimes all you need is praise. Praise is a weapon. Praise breaks chains. Praise confuses confuses the enemy. Maya, praise makes you powerful. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. It is said of Krishna, Rake Krishna Mare Ke, Mare Krishna Rake Ke. If Krishna wants to protect somebody, nobody can lay a finger on him. If Krishna wants to kill somebody, no one can protect that person. So if Krishna wants to protect me, you, his faithful devotees, all the forces of darkness cannot lay a finger on you. When you have praise coming out of your mouth, you're unstoppable, unconquerable. The enemy cannot keep a praiser down. Your praise may not seem like much, not very impressive compared to guns and bombs. But when you praise, angels are going to work. When you praise, the creator of millions and millions of universes begins to change things in your favor. The fact is, the fights that we're engaged in, the struggles that we're involved in, they ultimately are spiritual and not physical. Praise is our most powerful weapon. And when you praise in the valley, it's easy to praise on the mountaintop. But when you show the grit, the faith, the trust, the love to praise in the valley of death, in the valley of despair, in the valley of disease, then it's so effective. In the valley, Maya expects you to be bitter, to be negative, to be complaining. Maya is not ready to see you singing praises in the valley. Maya doesn't know how to deal with that, and she beats a retreat. One last story. There's a big dam called Morris Dam. It was built in the hills of East Tennessee. A worker on the night shift noticed how strange it was to hear these great dynamos running up in the dam, and then look down in this valley of Tennessee and see cabins lit with kerosene lamps. When he was asked why this was so, they told him that the transmission lines from the power dynamos had not yet reached those cabins. So even though those folks lived in the shadow of these great hydroelectric power generators, they were unable to receive that power because there were no lines linking the dam to their houses. Would you agree with me? It is that way with many people today. The power is there, but they have no link with that one almighty being who can restore new life in the valley. Praise is that link. Praise are the lines that connect your cabin to the unlimited power of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. All through the day, you can tap into that powerhouse by simply saying, Krishna, thank you that you're still on the throne. Thank you that you're bigger than this problem. Thank you that you're bigger than this disease. Praise will cause you to defeat all the giants in your life. Krishna knows how to transform a valley of trouble into a pathway of blessing. You may be in trouble right now in your health, trouble in your finances, trouble in your relationship. It's a setup. It's a setup. It was not meant to stop you. Krishna has another plan. He allowed it because if you have the right attitude, if you praise in the valley instead of becoming bitter and discouraged, if you praise in the valley, that's going to launch you to a new level. You're going to come out twice as well off as you were before that trouble started. Stronger, healthier, happier, better than you were before. One devotee said, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. Note, he didn't say, I I stay there. I live in the valley. I pitch my tent in the valley. I build my home in the valley. I'm condemned to be always in the valley. No, he said, I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. The valley, he said, was not his home. The valley is temporary. It's only something you go through in order to get to something twice as good. It's only a matter of time. If you keep God in first place before that valley is turned into a pathway of favor, a pathway of healing. Don't let that valley become permanent in your thinking. Don't go around talking about my sickness, my depression, my arthritis is acting up. Don't take ownership of it. It's not yours. Krishna made you healthy, whole, happy, free, blessed, prosperous. Anything else is alien, foreign territory. Maybe you are dealing with a sickness right now, but on the other side of that sickness is vibrant good health. Maybe it's slow at the office at the moment, but when you make it through that, there will be an abundance, good breaks, promotion beyond what you deserve. Right now, that family member is causing a lot of trouble, but on the other side of that valley is joy, peace, abundance. And honestly, none of us like going through the valleys. We try like the Dickens to avoid them. But they're inevitable. They're unavoidable. So our option really is not to avoid the valleys, but to keep the right perspective, knowing that that valley is going to lead you to overflow, knowing that if you go through it with a good attitude, it's going to promote you. Now I wonder, how often we get stuck in the valley, complaining, oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened. I never did the breaks, just my luck. Krishna is waiting to transform that valley into a pathway of blessing. But you just failed the test. You just said the wrong words out of your mouth. How we get through the valley is going to depend upon the words of faith that we speak in the valley. Whether that trouble is turned into a pathway is going to be determined by how you behave in the valley. Though you might feel you're stuck, you're doing the right things, but all the wrong things are happening, the good news is it's not permanent. Keep in faith, keep a good attitude, you're going to get through it, you're going to see what's on the other side, and when you do, you will be amazed. When you look back, you see how everything that happened that seemed negative at the time was a setup to bring you to a higher level. One more example. In 1972, there was a single devotee. This is 1972. There was one devotee in all of Delhi. His name was Tejas. He was a very sincere disciple of Prabhupada. But he was one devotee in a little apartment in Lajpat Nagar, and he had before him the prospect of planning Krishna consciousness in Delhi, of all places. He was overworked. He was undermanned. He was digging himself into a valley of depression because there was too much to do, and he was not able to do it all by himself. Prabhupada wrote him this letter, December 19, 1972. Dear Tejas, I am receiving your letter. Don't be disturbed. There isn't any cause for anxiety. You're doing your best to serve Krishna, and that is much appreciated. So don't lose enthusiasm out of frustration. Reclaim the buoyancy of calm. Frustration will spoil everything. Krishna consciousness means we should always be satisfied and happy. Not that we must work something impossible, becoming overburdened, and then because we are unhappy by so much trouble, we lose enthusiasm and give up hope. No, if too much endeavor is there, it has to be avoided. By all means, we must preserve our spiritual peace. Not that we are mad at big buildings, many devotees, life members, this, that.
No, these are only ways to engage the devotees so that they may apply the principles of devotional living to some kind of work for practical realization principles. It is not the result of the work that we're focused on. If only one person comes to the temple every day and we sincerely preach to that one person a day, that is sufficient. Never mind big progress. So my request to you is not to be bothered by these things. And Prabhupada concludes his letter to Tejas by saying, Krishna does not like to see a sincere devotee suffer or become frustrated or depressed. He will not stand idly by in such a case. So do not fear on that account. Krishna has some plan for you. Always think in that way. And very soon, he will provide everything beyond what you could think and imagine. Anybody been to Delhi lately? Do you know how many ISKCON temples, beautiful, big, multi-million-dollar temples? Do you know how many temples are in Delhi? Can anyone guess? Today? That was 1972. You know how many temples in Delhi? Each one of them 5 times bigger than this building. Anybody know? 17. So, can we say it under expectation, even the word? You don't have to figure out how Krishna is going to bring you out. It may look impossible. You've looked at all the options and you don't think you see a way. That's okay. Krishna has ways you've never thought of. He works on a different level. He has his own time frame. We think natural, but Krishna is supernatural. He can cause that property to find you. He can have the multi-million dollars, the Modis, the Birlas, the Mahalals, the Hindujas come and knock on your door. He can heal you without the treatment. The valley doesn't stop our Krishna. He's not limited by what you don't have. He's not intimidated by what you're up against. He doesn't work on our timetable. He'll do it in his own way, in his own time, and it will be bigger and better than you could have ever imagined. Now, why don't you trust him? Why don't you rest in him? He spoke worlds into existence. He flung stars into space. He knows how to get you from the bottom to the top. You might be in a valley now, things are difficult, but one day, I predict, you're going to rename that valley. Instead of the valley of disappointment, when you see what Krishna does, you're going to say, that was a valley of favor. That was a valley of blessing. That was a valley where Krishna showed up and showed out in my life. Instead of a valley of sickness, a valley of suffering, that was a valley of healing. That was a valley of wholeness where Krishna made a way where I didn't see a way. Instead of a valley of addiction, a valley of failure, that was a valley of freedom, a valley of restoration, where I saw Krishna's grace in a way I've never seen it before. Don't let the initial name of the valley fool you. Krishna intends to transform that into a pathway of victory. I promise this is the last story. I promise. But you want to hear this. This is great. One day, when Prabhupada was 57 years old, there was an incident which could have caused him to hit a rock bottom of depression and despair. He was away one day for a few days, one time. And his wife, 36 years, Radharani, ran out of tea biscuits. So there was a system of barter where a customer would place on a scale an object, the shopper would assess its value, and then balance it with what people would merchandise. So when Prabhupada was out, not finding anything else to barter that she wanted to barter, she took his sacred set of Srimad Bhagavatams and traded them for tea biscuits. Prabhupada came home and looked for his scriptures, she told him what had happened. She didn't take the matters very seriously. Can you imagine Prabhupada? He was shocked. He couldn't believe that his wife and his family were so out of tune with his priorities that she would take and sell his personal copies of the scriptures for tea biscuits, of all things. He was tempted to feel useless, overlooked, insulted, on the verge, perhaps descending into a valley of depression. But suddenly he recognized the incident for what it was, a pathway to victory. Krishna had recognized that he would never fulfill his destiny without first leaving his family. And when he told his wife that now he was going to fulfill the order of his spiritual master, which had been given to him 48 years before, and now he was going to board a ship headed for America, she didn't believe him. When he walked out the door, she thought, oh, he'll be back again in a few days. But Prabhupada knew it. They would never be back. Krishna had brought him through that incident, through that valley, out of limited family life into the open field. Krishna had put him on a pathway to victory. It's kind of funny what Prabhupada said. He said, one of the reasons I didn't leave my family earlier was because I wanted to fulfill my filial duty to get my sons and daughters married. But some would disagree. They present candidates and they reject them and they reject them. And I had one daughter that said she never wanted to get married. But when the tea biscuit incident happened, it showed me that time is up. Time is up. Prabhupada thought, if I were to die today, who will take care of my daughter? Who will take care of my son? People will say, wouldn't it? They'll say at my funeral, God will take care. Isn't it? God will take care. So the Prabhupada said, then why not now? God will take care. Whatever they like, they can do. And he left. God will take care. Fact is, this one daughter never did get married. So like with Prabhupada, things may be a little tough right now with you, your family, your finances. You might seem headed into a valley. Stay encouraged. You're going to end up saying, like Prabhupada, like all the saints of old, that was a pathway to victory. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Krishna's working behind the scenes in the lives of those who trust him. He has not brought you this far to leave you. He sees the tears. He sees the injustice. He knows the nights that you spent sleepless. That valley of trouble is about to be transformed into a pathway of hope, healing, promotion. Maybe it's uncomfortable now, but it is necessary. Krishna's using it to take you to a new level. Now, do your part. Praise him in the valley. Keep a good attitude in the valley. Be good to others in the valley. Trust him in the valley. If you do this, I believe that you're going to see Krishna's greatness in ways that are much bigger than you could have ever thought possible. You're going to ascend out of those valleys to the mountaintops. You're going to come from the depths to the heights. Krishna's about to do things you can't explain. Unusual favor, unusual healing, extraordinary restoration, breakthroughs. Get ready. You're about to go from the valley to the victory in this life, next life. You're going to go back to home, back to God. Thank you very much. Please raise your arms along with me, and we'll all say it together. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you so very, very much for your kind attention. Hare Krishna. Hare